Hi, everybody. Earth Discernment here. Hey, so I wanted to talk about today, or start the discussion about a topic I've seen and was curious about learning some more things and researching called, blood over intent. Okay, and whatever your beliefs may be on it, some people have some strong feelings, but I wanted to put some power behind what it was that we might be seeing and do some research myself and try to figure it out. And from, of course, all kinds of sources, but really get an explanation. So, and the reason why, and it's very important why I'm doing this, is because this intent, this blood over intent thing, has been tied to flat Earth. Eric Dubé made a comment about that. And also when you do research flat Earth a little bit, look what comes up, even on Pinterest here. Explore the flat Earth intent and more. So, I mean, your average Joe will run into it and perhaps think, hey, this is some kind of crazy following, right? So that's part of the discussion is, hey, is this guy trying to just, hijack things? And then, but I didn't want to start off by saying one way or the other what I believe, but yet let's do research and try to discern what the truth is in this matter. So that being said, I have an article I looked at here. And some of my research, I came across what I found is close to a definition for blood over intent. That blood over intent is an ancient Prospectin ritual involving the signing of important contracts. Here, I'll bring it over here so you can read. Where a person's life, savings, or freedom were on the line and would involve a blood over intent signing, where the contract would be written and the person's attempting to risk another person's aforementioned traits would slice their hand to let blood flow freely on the document before witnesses. If the contract was broken in some way and the perpetrator was caught by either party, this blood contract could be invoked and carried a death sentence and transfer all respective goods to the other signatory. Commonly, leaders would often make this contract since they held many lives in their authority. Navigators, too, would make this contract since they were responsible for a ship's crew. The ritual remains to this day used rarely. It's part of the navigator initiation ceremony, but for the most part doesn't exist in modern society. Some nobility still use it, which it's an interesting little thing to add there. That being said, I've looked up some different meanings on blood over intent, different sources. One, I think it was fair to start with this exposingsatanism.com, where they say, obviously we're going to get some kind of Bible thing here. Blood's a precious commodity, life's in the blood, Satan is in their blood and their dark magic. The reason for all the recent airplane crashes, etc., right? And they say here, the shedding of blood for Satan is the whole reason that war exists. It's not just about money and man's power. It's about keeping the power of Satan and his minions alive throughout the generations. And they address here the idiotic fad called blood over intent, satanic ritual where people intend to love and worship all, exclude none, right? And herein lies the issue for me. That word, worship, shouldn't be used in this. That's absolutely, I see what their meaning would be using that particular phrase, and I have seen that people have used that. But anyway, they sign in their own blood. It's amazing, frightening people how many participate in this cunning ruse, not realizing they are making a legally binding pact with the devil himself. Okay, I mean, that's what you might figure you would see from that source. Then I came across where I put kind of together this statement here about discernment. True knowledge is true self. Plato said, know thyself. But knowledge is a combination of ethereal, spirit, intuition, imagination, synchronicity, dreams, information, and knowledge from sources, time, etc. You put those two together. It does take a lot of time, but it's vital. It's vital that we use our critical thinking and extract the true meaning. So obviously, I think a lot about that as far as discernment goes, using intelligence to discern figure it out for yourself, critical thinking. So let's move on. What I came across in this research, a site called Exemplar, looks to be a witches type site. As you can see here, practicing witchcraft, what you should know about blood magic. And it was written here by this Mackenzie Sage Wright, who has been a witch for 25 years. All right, I have known nothing about this topic, so this is all new to me. Blood magic, conjures up all kinds of things, ritual, spell, these kind of things. You can read the article if you want to find it, just search for it. But I'm going to go down here to the power of blood. So they say it's a powerful thing. Blood is associated with death. Slain warriors, the victim. Blood is associated with pain, right? So we can already see it's going to be invoking all kinds of weird images and reactions. Blood is, it's passion, connection, it's raw emotion. Well, but blood is also life. It courses through your body, delivering oxygen and nutrients. It's energy when you push yourself. And, they go on here to make the distinction between it's not blood sacrifice, where you throw something down on an altar, as you can see in the picture. Blood magic is the use of a few drops, not some crazy thing, during a spell or ritual. Usually your own blood. If you're casting for someone else, you could use theirs. Okay, so that I don't know about. Are they calling it evil? Well, of course they're saying, blood isn't evil by itself. It's how you use it, kind of like a computer. And for me, it's worth exploring this side of it, because these are the people who practice it, and this is something not discussed in the blood over intent verse when it's involved in the flat earth conversation. Why it's so important is, if indeed you would consider it to be true, that it would work, that there would be any power behind it, or not. Would it work? Whatever your thoughts are, let's just assume that, okay, we'll take the hypothetical position that it will do something. It's powerful, okay? So what they're saying here is practicing safe blood magic. So don't ever take more than a few drops. Don't take blood. These are people who say they practice it, but they're actually throwing a warning up here. So if anything, I will take this as you shouldn't just blindly throw up some stuff on the internet, because some guy tells you to. And especially your wording, and what if it does hold you to some kind of contract, right? Maybe it's a contract to yourself, to your higher consciousness, whatever it might be. Don't smear blood on other people. Don't consume blood. Don't, okay, that's great. And then they tell you to do it cleanly. You can use it. They tell you how, where, when, and when not to use it. So that alone should tell you, hey, don't just kind of throw some stuff up on the internet thinking you're going to help it. Your pledge a video of you doing it. Some people use it for protection, minor protection, something about coworkers. Some people try to use it for health. Let's just see. Here's the things that they never use it. They don't use it. Blood magic. They never use blood magic unless I'm fully prepared to accept whatever consequences may be. Never use it to target other people without their permission. So not necessarily targeting, but when you say, intend to love all people, or if it was worship, that's crazy, because then they always use that no one statement. And who could that no one be? Well, would that also be the one person you don't want to give your power to? Anyway, that being said, never use it in love or relationship magic. Okay, so they're saying blood magic turns potential bond into a chain, emotional slavery. Never use it to gain power. Never use it to bring harm to anyone or anything, which is, okay, good advice, great. Never use it for vengeance or retaliation. Using blood and magic's alternative to blood. Okay, comments, and there's none. So, and then I, found this article here, so we'll just keep blasting through it. Where I found an interesting comment on this particular question, talking about, anyone indoctrinating you to an oath is evil. So that's the whole discussion of an oath as well. Can be a blood oath, blood over intent, because they're declaring they do not want you to be a creative being and extract your own meaning. Even though what they're preaching is true or half-truth, they will spoon-feed you meaning, but because it's more meaning, more knowledge than you had before, you get impressed by it, or you think you're being empowered, when they, by keeping you from being able to extract meaning on your own, they've got complete control of you. They've taken you out of your own path. Anyone who has knowledge beyond understanding holds a sense of secrecy as to where they gain such knowledge. They know how much you don't know. They know how you are programmed, and that it's this programming that they use to try to perceive the reality symbols, entomology, and numerology of perceived images. Goes on to talk about the disinfo agents, but yeah, you can see what I mean. Another version of this, looking into using menstrual, blood, the Native American cultures consider women's and men's to be at the height of her powers. Lakota tribe would not permit a menstrual woman anywhere near warriors or healers, and that it was so powerful, just the presence would weaken the strength of warriors and interfere. But it's also life-giving, life-sustaining, where native tribes would return sacred life-giving blood back to the earth. They would sit over seeds and let the sacred blood flow directly into seeds or newly planted seedlings, which indeed does give the seeds growing power. This is an alchemy website where they do talk about, silver, all the element, the broken down alchemy of it. But, they talk about collect your blood in a moon cup and all of this, okay? The silver chalice, on and on. So, let's keep moving. So I have seen on, in particular, this person who shall not be named because I'm not singling out, but just where people have even said, 2 years ago I must have endured this, something about, child harming and all this crap. And people are just trying to flag it, get rid of it, just totally freaking out about what they've put, okay? Deemed offensive. There's some interesting comments here, but just wanted to say, since these are the faces that are tied to it, where play this clip here of, Quasi-Luminous. He's got, explains it, and again, it calls everybody, if you don't understand it, you're a fucking retard, and over and over, and it's repeated a bunch of times. Actually, in this particular video, he's going over a Devin Magee thing where he says, there's 144,000 people who will be saved. It just screams out kind of cultish language. But again, I don't want to discount the actual research that they've done, okay? Do we know that we're reincarnated with amnesia and there's the Saturn moon matrix to into the third dimension, controlling our simulator flat plane? So Devin, love the research that he's doing, okay? So I basically, this polar vortex, Mount Baru, this is all very interesting to me, and I've never been to the North Pole. It's a whole nother subject matter. But I thought it was really important to kind of get what I have found is going on, in the lack of research that I could find anyway, but to start the discussion of what you all think as far as it goes. Should it be done? Can we put this to rest? Do we have to shove it down and just kind of put it on a separate conversation of its own? Because, even Devin on these videos, he kind of goes through, everything, all this great research, but put that stamp of blood over intent on it, and I think it throws everyone off, either from fear, from whatever it is that they might be doing, right? All those notions of pain and those things that blood conjures up. So for me, it's just starting this discussion, keeping it going, or trying to figure out, hey, is there something to this? There's a whole part of me that is exploring those alternative ways of thinking in every way. And but I would think if it was possible, it would have to be done in a responsible way. Anyway, Earth Discernment signing off here, and until next time.